with Tap.
Welcome to Great Greys, your one-stop shop to finding winners across Australia from the world of greyhound racing. Host David Shortte is joined by Hall of Famer Neil Brown, Jason Campbell to look at Queensland and Tasmanian chasing, Sean Matheson looking at South Australian chasing, New South Wales expert Simon Orchard, and the Shane Train Williams rounds it out with his key plays and kennel mail in WA. Now, over to the team for this week's edition of Great Greys.
Yes, thank you, Pete. Good morning. Welcome along to Great Greys, where it's 5 minutes past 10. Got a busy program today. A little bit different. A couple of new additions to the team for this week. Simon Orchard's on holiday, so Mick Cowley will join us to talk all things New South Wales chasing. Jason Campbell to have a look at Albion Park and Hobart tonight. Of course, the Hall of Famer Neil Brown will be with us, having a look at all of the action for tonight's program at Sandown. We have Sean Matheson looking all things SA chasing, and rounding out the program today with a chat with Corey Smith, the top man from the Meadows. Of course, they've got a stunning night of chasing to look forward to there on a Saturday night with the Zoom Top and also the Temley, as well as 8 heats, of the Australian Cup. So a huge night there at the Meadows on Saturday night. Corey Smith will join us with all of the latest there, but let's rip straight into them. Mick Cowley's been good enough to join the team today here on Great Greys, with Simon Orchard being away. Have a look at the program tonight at Wentworth Park, Gosford on Saturday and Bulli on Sunday. Welcome to you, Mick. How do we find you today?
Hello, Dave. How are you, mate? Very big shoes to step into, an Olympic medalist, but I'll do my best.
Absolutely, yeah. No, he does a great job, Simon. But as you've alluded to, you're no mug yourself, Mick. It's great to have you on board, and looking forward to some really good chasing over there in your neck of the woods over the next few days. Let's take us through your thoughts tonight there. Wentworth Park looks a nice program. Do you like a couple?
Mate, it is a nice program, and there are a couple that I do like, but there's particularly one interesting race. I think race 2 on the card. It's there's an unbeaten dog in the red called Lochinvar Marvel. It's trained by Michelle Lill and owned by GRSW board member Kevin Gordon, who's obviously had Lochinvar Marlow and had pretty much all the progeny since then. Also had Lochinvar Art, a very handy harness horse as well. This dog's had 3 runs for 3 wins. It was a pretty good winner last start at Maitland, and it's come up with the red here. First run over 500. The key to it's going to be getting through that first turn. It's not a super fast beginner, and drawn out in the 6 is a dog called Tormina for Andy and Jody Lord. Tormina, you may recall, only a few weeks ago now, finished second, just got run down near the line by Laura Keeping in the Group 1 National Futurity. So it's obviously this is a bit of a step down from that. Had no luck at all last start, couldn't cross to the fence and got stuck in a bit of traffic on the first turn. I was basically all over for Tormina there. From box 6, you'd imagine with the speed around it, it's going to be able to cross to lead. And then, as I said, it'll just be a case of how far behind Tormina Lochinvar Marvel does get. I'm thinking the way that it probably or hopefully will play out is that Tormina will lead, Lochinvar Marvel will get through and get the sit on it and prove perhaps a little bit too strong. As I said, first run over 500, but I don't think that'll be too much of a drama for this dog. It's pretty special from all reports. Also on the card, it could be Magri night tonight. Jason Magri is obviously our leading trainer. If you look at his stats for this year, he won the Richmond Straight Cup last Thursday, a feature here, $25,000 feature up the straight at Richmond with Kenya Untamed. He's had 56 starters since January 1 and has had 28 winners, 1 every 2, 50%, which is just unbelievable statistics. Tonight he's got 5 runners in. Chances are he may win 4 races. There's 2 dogs that he's got in the 1 race, or else he probably would have won 5. He's an absolute freak at the moment. He's got litter mates Zipping Avania in race 3, Zipping Hasler in race 4, Zipping Papali in race 9. Avania and Hasler are both favourites to win. Papali is actual second favourite behind Alan Keeping, who's Jason's other dog in that race. And Jason's got a dog called Speedy Pie in race 5, which is also a favourite. So, as I said, with his strike rate at the moment, the way that he's performing and the way that his dogs are going, wouldn't be a surprise for him to walk out with 4 winners. And perhaps for punters, it might be an idea to perhaps multi some of those 4 runners up and see how you go. You probably get good odds. They're all around about the $1.95, $2 mark. So should get a bit of value of that. And then Lochinvar Marvel in that second race.
Magnificent. That's one of the hottest strike rates in racing anywhere, anytime that. So we'll stick with Jace Magri to have a big night of it tonight there at Wenty Park. Also meetings Gosford on Saturday, Bulli on Sunday. Anything of note there for the punters?
Yeah, Gosford's the standout meeting. There's no Wentworth Park Saturday night. It's the feature meeting, and the feature race there's the Group 3 Gosford 600. As the name suggests, it's a 600-metre feature. Heats were run back on January 28. There was 3 heats. The winners were Zipping Chaplain, Make Them Cry, and Group 1 winner Gets Led Early, who also won the Gosford Cup up there, so I certainly love that track. The key for that race is going to be the jump. Makes Them Cry as drawn box 3, Zipping Chaplain in 2. Zipping Chaplin's a slow beginner. Make Them Cry, if it can find the fence early, it'll give them something to catch. And Zipping Chaplain and Gets Led Early, both good finishers, will be chasing. But Make Them Cry, it's run 34.2 around Gosford. If it runs anywhere near that, they won't be catching it. So I think it's worth having something on Make Them Cry in that Gosford 600. There's also another good race up there on Saturday night as well. There's a couple, but one of the other ones is the Maitland versus Gosford final, it's called. Now, heats of those were run last Tuesday night, so the dogs are only going to get 4 days to back up. A lot of them are young dogs, and Pete Lagagiani, who's got Make Them Cry, has got 2 bitches in the race. He's got one called She's That Girl, another one called Depeche, and on Tuesday night in the heats, She's That Girl ran 28.92, and then half an hour later, Depeche ran 28.93. That's half a length outside of Wow's track record. And these are dogs that have had 3 starts, She's That Girl, and Depeche has had 12. So there's plenty of talent there with the 2 of them. The only problem could be that Depeche is drawn the 3, and it's a bit of a wide runner, and She's That Girl wants to find the fence. So if She's That Girl, who's drawn the 4, can get across Depeche early, I think she'd probably be the one that you'd want to be on. But because they both ran such good heat times, there could be a bit of value between the 2 of those. So maybe the better value may be the way to go in that race. Also, just touching on Saturday night, there's a meeting at Dubbo, and there's a GRNSW series race, a middle distance series race out of the 600 there, and it sees the return of Palawa King, $1 million earner, New South Wales Greyhound of the Year for 2023. First run back since September. He's had 2 hip support problems. He got one fixed and the other one went, but he's coming back. He's been trialling okay, according to Jack Smith, the trainer, and he just wants to see how he goes and whether he's ready to, wants to race again. He's coming up to 4 years old, so it's up to the dog, according to Jack, whether he wants to race again, and if he does, he'll send him around for as long as he wants to go around, but perhaps Association Cup coming up in April could be a target short term for that. Dave, as you mentioned, Bulli on Sunday. It's the 3 heats of the Bulli Gold Cup, Group 2 event for us here. Always a good meeting, and that one-turn track down there, people do love getting there and love betting. But these heats, they are super tough heats there. There's a lot of very good dogs in there, headlined by Good Odds Cobber, the Group 1 Bullion winner last week. Promising dogs like Slick Badger, Unleashed in Miami. Anthony Has a Party's bringing 3 up, and Anthony usually has a habit, particularly at Goulburn and Bulli, bringing dogs up and winning our features as well. He's bringing up Tattooed, Past the Buck, and Augustus Finch, who won a feature at Goulburn late last year as well. So, as I said, there are a lot of good dogs in those races. Perhaps more of a look on, but if you are keen on something in those 3 heats on Sunday evening, you're going to get a bit of value about it because they are hot. So that's pretty much what's happening in New South Wales over the next few days. It's an exciting time. It's not Group 1 action like it might be in Melbourne, but it's some pretty handy racing, that's for sure.
Absolutely. We'll be locked on and watching all of the action there over the next few days. Mick, thanks so much for joining us today here on Great Greys. Enjoy the weekend of chasing there in New South Wales.
Thanks so much, Dave. Appreciate your time, mate. There
we have it. Mick Cowley looking at all things New South Wales chasing here on Great Greys. About a minute away from the first here at Scone, over the 1,200 metres.
You're listening to Great Greys on Tab Radio.
Where it's time to catch up with our great mate Jason Campbell and have a look at the chasing tonight at Albion Park as well as down there in Hobart. G'day, JC. How's your week unfolding?
Can't complain, Shorty. How about yourself, mate?
Yeah, like you, mate. No complaints on my end. Everything's ticking over quite nicely, albeit pretty warm. But that's what we expect in summer. Hopefully our punting form can remain warm. We've got another good program to look forward to tonight there at Albion Park. Take us through your thoughts.
Yeah, quite not the dizzy heights of last week. It was obviously a very great night of racing. Good Odds Cobber and Ethanol Water taking out the 2 feature races at Albion Park last week. And Red Stiletto in the Launceston Cup last Monday. But a little bit of a lesser meeting going around, but that doesn't change the currency amount on offer for the punters. Albion Park race 5, number 6, Boots and Booty. Having her as a play here tonight, just a bit of a pot on more than money. We were with him a couple of weeks ago when he did salute from a wide box. He's drawn inside here. He's getting having his first run at the 600 metres. On this bend start, he can't afford to be slow away and want to hook wide. So I think Boot and Booty, she's obviously a very, very consistent greyhound. She has really, really good box manners. She should be able to find the front here and be really hard to run down. So I'm happy to be with her, and I think she'll start favourite.
Excellent. Race 5, the Green Rug, Boot and Booty. Went to the Drake concert on Tuesday night over here, JC, and I can tell you there was a little bit of that going on, the old Boot and Booty, so could be the omen pick. The best of the night, though, we wait until later on in the piece, race number 11. I've tried to keep these particular characters out of my life, but I may well make an exception tonight. Who have we got here?
Yes, race 11, number 2, Mean Girl. Hopefully she's not mean to us tonight. There are a lot of lovely women in this world, Shorty. Hopefully that you got to see a few of them at the concert, even though I'm sure you're a very happily married man. She has been going quite well in Masters Company. Her last 2 runs she has placed, and she has actually jumped off the mat first. But I think this race, there's just no speed, obviously, underneath her, and all the speed's out wide. Those dogs aren't super, super strong, so if she can hold them out to the first turn, I can't see them running her down, and I've made her the best bet on the night.
Very nice indeed. Race 11, number 2, Mean Girl, to go along with race 5, number 6, Boot and Booty. Looks like some nice multi-business there tonight. And then we head down to Hobart for their program this evening down there in the Apple Isle. Looking to get it early on the card down there.
Yes, race 1, number 6, Highgate Fennec. Her best run for me came on debut at Hobart over the 461 metres. She just peaked on her run late behind a very smart dog by the name of Alston. Back to the 340 metres here, I think, is a massive positive. And she has proven to date that wide boxes are of no concern. Both her placings have been from box 7. So I think at the price, she's a pretty worthy gamble in race 1.
Race 1, the Green Rug, Highgate Fennec. And then we're looking for a place bet in race number 4.
Yes, race 4, number 6, Spa. The favourite in this race, Inherited Charm. He is out of the same bitch that produced Raiders Guide and Red Stiletto. That just won that Launceston Cup. He's an absolute freak. He won last week by almost 10 lengths in 25.50, which is absolutely mouth-watering. I'm sure he'll get 600 metres in time and might be a dog that floats over to Victoria, as we see with a lot of these really sharp Tasmanian sprinters. They do get their chance over there once they get to a certain age, and obviously when they go through the grades in Tasmania, they're ready to go back to Victoria and it's all reset. But I want to focus on Spa here. She has had the 10 starts for the 1 win and the 9, so she is yet to miss the podium in those 10 starts. She has a bit of a mind of her own, Shorty, and these are dogs that we don't necessarily like taking as favourites for win bets, but as place bets in a race where they've got to pay second and third here. I think she's a brilliant bet here. You've probably got to get about $1.80, $1.75, and she's obviously run second to Inherited Charm last week. So Inherited Charm should be very hard to beat, but as we know, something has to run second and third, and Spa's made a pretty good living of doing so of late.
That's the truth. These dogs, for me, JC, I have they are more valuable generally on the punt than what the warm favourites are, because you can fill a box in your trifectas, first fours, exactas, however you like to play it, really cheaply. You only have to find the winner from there, and you can play for units. So Spa's a dog, just pop it into your black book. 10 starts, yes, yet to miss a visit back to the podium post-race. And once again tonight should be hitting the frame. So place bet there. Behind the warm favourite, race 4, number 6, Spa for Debbie Cannon. So we've got race 1, number 6, and race 4, number 6, the place. And pop that one into your black book. And Rove Bankerit, there's some money to be made out of Spa heading forward. Tremendous stuff. JC, not sure if you've looked or not yet, but we've got a wonderful night of chasing Saturday there at the Meadows. Be catching up with their old mate Corey Smith a bit later on in the program, but this is one of the more exciting nights of chasing on the calendar. We've got the Zoom Top, Ethanol Water, of course, fresh off Group 1 success last week there up in Queensland. Lanfranco, Irish Millie, cashing out, Groove Bird, Unreal Speed, Black Silencer, Pass Mark, all going around there in the Zoom Top for the stayers over 730. And in the Temlee, Flying Zulu off the inside, Smooth Plane, who's just fresh off a good campaign up there in Queensland. Hotel Whiskey won one for the As a Party camp that's really emerging as a very, very smart chaser. Vincent Bale always in and around the place in these sorts of races. Lakeview Emily, Daisy's Rory, Tim Zoo and Excavation going around in the Temlee at Group 1 level. It's a magnificent card, and a number of the dogs that have been racing really well up there in the north of Australia in Queensland through their carnival, front up in Victoria for a tilt at the Group 1 Glory there on Saturday night at the Meadows. Yeah,
not a jurisdiction I'm too familiar with, but obviously with a lot of these group animals, they do travel around the nation now. So I think I'll leave that one to the professional Shorty. I think Mr. Corey Smith, he's been in fine form himself recently. I think the listeners are in great hands with him coming on after me.
Yeah, no, that's spot on. I just thought you might want to throw something in that you'd seen up there in Queensland. Certainly Ethanol Water and Black Silencer, they've got the Roll Gold Group 1 form out of the big staying feature up there in Queensland last week.
Yeah, they run 1-2 last week. I'm not sure exactly how the Zoom top works with the panel there, but I thought Late Night News, nice young stayer in New South Wales, just ticked over 2 years of age, was probably the eye-catcher in that race, albeit Ethanol Water and Black Silencer held him to the line. Pretty stiff not to make the field, I would have thought, but I'm sure he'll get his chance and he might be able to probably race next year because he's just turned 2 recently and he'll be 3 years old and he looks like a really nice stayer. He's just gone to another level since going up to the 700 metres, took out a feature race at Wentworth Park, and compared to Ethanol Water and Black Silencer, he's got almost a year on them, or he's got more than a year on Black Silencer, so he's a nice young dog, and I saw he trialled very fast at the Meadows, so he's definitely a dog that I'm looking forward to in that Fanabale series that's coming right up.
Magnificent. JC, always an absolute treat catching up with you on a Thursday here on Great Greys. Really appreciate your time, mate. Have a ripper weekend and look forward to our chat again this time next week.
No worries, Shorty. All the best, mate.
There we have it. Jace Campbell joining us here. Follow him, of course, on X at Campbell Jason with all of the latest. He does a wonderful job for the punters, and we'll be getting around Albion Park tonight, couple there, and also down there in Hobart. Matty, it's now 26 minutes after 10. We're only some 4 minutes or so away from our next race 4 broadcast. That will be from Wangaratta, race number 5, with the early start there today.
And nearly 60 grand in the quaddie. Homecoming 210, number 12, into 235 from $5 with Tab Touch. And at Scone, Kiosk 110, 104, Star Venture 190, and Share the Joy 210, 380 Quinella, $4 exacta, 1010 trifecta, 1847 first 4, 2910. No scratchings, and weight is up on the first.
This is your home of the Greyhound Good Oil, Great Greys.
And one man who's provided us with plenty of good oil on the journey is the Hall of Famer Neil Brown. He's been good enough to join us once again this morning here on Great Greys. Hello, Neil. How's it all going in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, going well, David. Looking forward to tonight's meeting. We've had some very warm weather here. It's not too bad today. And big meeting at the Meadows, as you say, on Saturday night with the heats of the Australian Cup and those 2 invitationals, the Temlee and the Zoom Top. Gee, the Reds look hard to beat there, David, in those 2 big races, don't they? They're flying, those 2 greyhounds, Ethanol Water and Flying Zulu. But, pretty tough task finding us some winners tonight. We'll do our very best.
Well, you're the man for the job, Neil. You continue to do a wonderful job here on the program each week. We've got about 3 minutes to go until the next race here at Wangaratta. That's probably time enough to get through the numbers and your thoughts for the early quaddie tonight. Race number 1, the Valet Peter Wishart over the 595 metres, the first leg of the early quaddie.
Yeah, we lost a couple of terrific old soldiers last week. One of them, Pete Wishart, wonderful trainers, and the first leg of the quaddie is honour of Johnny Cohen, another terrific trainer and a long time in the game, these boys. 148 for me in the first race on the card tonight. Crusador, I think, from the inside. Pretty close to a win, fair beginner. Not a lot of depth in the race, so I'm just going to take those 3. Race number 2, here over the 5:15. These greyhounds qualified at Bendigo. I'm going to take 7, 6 and 2. Good win here a couple of starts ago for Riversdale Mick. I think we're on that night, so I'm going to stick with him. Similar class race, good beginner. We'll take those 3 and see if we can keep rolling in that first leg, in that first early quad. Race number 3, Adam Bailey, 50 years in greyhounds. Adam was track manager at Sandown for over 30 years. And a wonderful contributor to the sport. Nothing he doesn't know about track management. 1, 8, 5 and 3 for me. Well drawn, open race. Has won 4 from 6 when he's drawn box 1, so I'm going to stick with Pretty Capri on top there and take those other 3. I think it's open, 8, 5 and 3. And in race number 4, Sportsbet final here, 3, 2 and 5. I think Our Regards is a greyhound that beats in pretty good form. Smart Heat win in 29.62 and has shown some early pace. So I think it's the one to beat. 3, 2 and 5 in race number 4 to round out the early quad, David.
Excellent, Neil. So we've got 1, 4 and 8, leg 1, 7, 6 and 2, leg 2, 1, 8, 5 and 3 in leg 3, home with 3, 2 and 5. Starting to move into the barriers quite nicely here for race number 5 of the day at Wangaratta. We'll throw back to Matty. When we return, Neil Brown's thoughts for the main quaddie and his best bets on tonight's program.
You are tuned into Shorty and the team on Great GREYS.
Well, it's now 28 minutes away from 11 o'clock, catching up with Neil Brown, having a look at the program tonight there at Sandown. We've gone through the early quaddie, on to the main quaddie now tonight, Neil, and looking forward to what will be 5 very interesting races. The first of them, the Valet John Cohen. This is over the 715 metres, field down to just the 5 runners, Lakeview Nola, Kenya Vivi, Valletta Diva, Pidwidgeon and Infrarock in the first leg of the quad. 5 to choose from. Who are we taking in this first leg?
I'm going to try and trim it up and take 2, David. I think the winner will come from number 4 or 3, Valletta Diva I've got on top. Impressive Meadows winner in 42.75. It is fairly open. Kenya Viva has certainly got a chance, a good Meadows winner as well. And I think just in that small field now, we'll take 4 and 3 and see if we can get rolling in the quaddie early on the cheap.
Fair enough. On to the second leg.
Race number 6 here, 5.95. Very open affair here, plenty of chances. I know poor Octavia's pretty short in the market, but I think it's a fairly open race. I've got it on top. It is drawn well. Well boxed here, has one, but it can be a little hit and miss early, so, be careful of that. But plenty of chances. I think the 7 goes around here a lot at Sandown Park. He's had numerous starts and wins on the track. Do you want a Scotch? I think it's a chance. Ashton Gaga is also drawn inside Gaga, and I think Reality Pie's got some sort of chance with a bit of luck in running, certainly in good form. So an open race, 1, 7, 2 and 4, the second leg of the quaddie. Race number 7 here over the 5.15 for the 3rd and 4th graders. I'm going to try and find it in 3, 5, 2 and 1. I've got Ashton Gonzo on top. I think he's got a good record here. 3 from 3s, 1 in 29.28, fast time. He's got some early pace. He might be able to lead from the 5 and be hard to beat, but certainly chances to the 2 greyhounds drawn inside. Navarino's well drawn in 1, and Zenabal also won a couple 2 starts back, won a race a couple of starts back, and I think it's a chance 5, 2 and 1. Rounding the quaddie out, another very interesting 5.95 with a few chances for the 4th and 5th graders here. Going to try and find it with 1, 3, 6 and 8. I've got the 1 on top. So I do like greyhounds drawn on the inside. Mahogany here for me. Good draw in the 1 box. But it is even. Chances to Blue Goose Boy. Goose Boy, he's going okay. Tully Luna. They're wider on the track, these 2. Poor Frederick. But I think with a bit of luck in running, getting around that first bend past the 500 boxes makes a big difference in the race. So 1, 3, 6 and 8 around the quaddie out. So pretty tough card tonight. Didn't think there was a lot of standouts, David. I do like in race 10, number 1, Mapunga Ollie. I think he can lead. I think he should be able to lead from box number 1. And he's around the $253 mark. Very well boxed in there. I think he can get the money in race number 10. So race 10, number 1, Mapunga Ollie, our best at Sandown tonight. So good luck and good punting.
Magnificent. Thank you very much, Neil. Appreciate your time as always. Have a great night out there at Sandown.
Thanks, David. Talk to you next week, mate.
There we have it. Neil Brown joining us on TAB Radio on Great GREYS. It's now 24 minutes away from 11 o'clock. Matty?
You're listening to Great GREYS on Tab Radio.
Time to cross the border and head across to South Australia, talk all things SA chasing with our man Sean Matheson. Hello, Sean.
Hi, David. Yeah, great to be on the show yet again. A good night of racing awaits us here at Angle Park with heats of the St. Leger being races 2, 3 and 4. And, good to get a bit of continuity in our race program. But I think the heat's coming back our way again early next week. So it's just that time of the year, David, with our meetings going forward and back and just giving every opportunity.
That's the truth. Yeah, flexibility is a key at this time of year, and of course, very, very important. The welfare of the dogs is number one priority. So we'll just adapt around it, and hopefully, I'd say we've probably got about 4 to 6 weeks left of pretty hot stuff. And once that's done and dusted, we can knuckle down into footy season and a little bit cooler weather and put that stuff to the side. But for now, we've still got some hot action on the track. You mentioned these St. Leger heats, and there's some very talented youngsters that'll be strutting their stuff tonight there at Angle Park. Some very, very smart litters. Some great producers have got some puppies on the ground tonight from some of the top kennels over there in SA.
Yeah, most definitely. The St. Ledgers, again, always produced a fantastic series, and the winners of these events are very progressive types. It's got a lot of history, the St. Leger. So tonight, with our 3 heats, no doubt we'll end up with a wonderful final next week. But just to name a few, the likes of Yamali in race 2 won the Doug Payne last week. Takes on the likes of Bewitch, who was in that race, and Darcy Dakota, who hopped across the border and was placed in the Ballarat Derby last start. So, I mean, the quality of the heats and the depth is excellent. A couple of my best bets will be in those 2 heats, David. So, definitely some for the listeners to follow.
Love it. Let's get into your better bets on the program tonight, Sean.
Okay, so the first one comes up in race 3, which is the second heat of the St. Leger. And I like number 7, He's Magic, at around that $4 quote. Been mixing his distance over the 5.95 and 5.30, and his last 3 runs have been over the 5.30. He's over 5.30 again tonight. Had no luck last week in running third. Missed the start, got checked early, and ran home really well, very impressively to run third. Only go back 2 starts ago, he ran second in his own personal time of 30.59, chasing Zinfandel Trace. That was with a good beginning and good to the back, but his middle section in chasing Zinfandel Trace home was excellent, running that sort of time. And I just think from a wide draw here, in a small field, he'll just position so nicely that it'll just be too hard to hold out over the concluding stage. And I think the $4 is a good price.
Very nice. We'll kick things off with the black rug in race 3, number 7, He's Magic, the second of your plays.
Second of the plays comes up in the third heat of the St. Leger, which is race 4. And I do like number 8, Zinfandel Trace. Now, I don't normally try to throw our odds-on favourites on the show, David. We're obviously looking for a bit of value for the listeners, but she's quoted at $1.70. She's had a little bit of support. I think that's still a very good price for her. Last week, she was quite heavily supported in the Doug Payne in a much, much stronger race where she ran second from this same box in a field of 8, and she charged home to just fail, going under by just under a length. This is certainly a weaker event for her in a smaller field. It just suits her down to the ground. I think $1.70 is still a bit of value for her, because I think that she should be able to really position anywhere in a small field, and she'll just be too good for them.
Very nice race for the pink rug there. Zinfandel Trace putting together a tremendous record for trainer Gav Harris. 30 starts for 13 wins and 10 seconds. Very rare that Zinfandel Trace turns up and doesn't be right there in the mix. That's likely to be the case once again tonight in race 4, number 8, Zinfandel Trace. And the third of your plays tonight there at Angle Park, Sean.
The third of the play comes up in race 6, and it's number 7, Ricky's Burner for Tim Richards. Quoted around that $9.50 mark, and you might get a touch better as we head towards jump time tonight. This is probably the most open race on the card, but Ricky's Burner 2 starts ago ran 30 and 62 from box 5, coursed wide, and really rounded them up into the back straight and raced away from his rivals. And again, 30.62 is a brilliant time actually quite a good run last week in a Grade 6 event where he ended up running second, didn't come out as well. Again, wide on the track, made good ground late to go down by 5 lengths, but the run was certainly still quite good enough. And I think from a wide draw here tonight at the each-way quote, I think that he can get a nice run across. There's not a lot of speed in the race, so I'm hoping he can do what he did 2 runs ago, where he was able to just sort of build momentum early, sweep around them and really put the speed down into the back straight. And I reckon at that sort of $9.50 quote, I reckon you'll get a decent run for your money.
Very nice. Good value played around things out tonight there at Angle Park. Race 3, number 7, He's Magic. Race 4, number 8, Zinfandel Trace. And each way with race 6, number 7, Ricky's Burner. We've got Chasing at Gawler on Friday, Murray Bridge on Sunday. Anything there for the punters to team up with, Sean?
Yeah, I think so. One in each venue. So Gawler tomorrow, race 4, number 8, Victor Tara. She should bounce right back into the winners list there tomorrow. She started favourite in effectively the same field last week. She missed the start. I don't think she'll miss the start 2 weeks in a row. So I expect her to, bounce right on the lead and be extremely hard to beat. The benefit of her getting beaten last week, you should probably get a slightly better price for her this week. And then I like at Murray Bridge on Sunday. We'll go to race 6, number 1, Sudoku Nala. She loves an inside draw. She bounced back into the winners list in a time-graded event last start at Angle Park. Back to Murray Bridge over the 395. She's got the speed here from the inside draw to lead and win this, so she'll be very, very hard to catch.
Race 6, number 1, Sudoku Nala on Sunday there at Murray Bridge, and on Gawler Friday, race 4, the Floss Runner, Victor Tara. Beautifully done, Sean. Appreciate your time as always here on Great Greys. Have a wonderful weekend. Look forward to our chat next week.
All good, David. We'll talk then.
Good man, Sean Matheson joining us here on Great Greys. We're at 16 minutes away from 11 o'clock. Next race 4 broadcast will be race number 2 there at Scone, Matty. And looking forward to catching up with Corey Smith very shortly. What's the latest, though, for race number 2 at Scone?
Storm Park 420 is the tote favourite and is 340 Balmiero with Tab Touch in from 550. And just the small field to go around. Note Michaela Weir jumps on to number 6, a late replacement. And Wangaratta is paying on race number 5, correct weight. We head back there in 14 for race number 6.
This is your home of the Greyhound Good Oil, Great Greys.
Well, this Saturday night at the Meadows, punters, is as good a night of chasing as you will see anywhere, anytime on this great planet. And the man that looks after the Meadows has always been very kind with his time here on TAB Radio is Corey Smith. He now joins us on Great Greys. G'day, Corey. How are you today?
Going well, Shortte. It's been a little while since you and I have had a chat, but it's good. It must be that the racing's heating up here at the Meadows. I'm looking forward to it.
Big style, and you have got a wonderful card there on Saturday night. 8 heats of the Australian Cup with some of the best sprinters in the land. And what about these 2 Group 1s? The Zoom Top over the 730 metres and also the Temlee over the 525 metres. Of course, the Carnival's been on up there in Queensland, and pretty much all of the informed key stars from that Carnival find themselves back here in Victoria having a tilt at the Zoom Top and also the Temlee. You must be delighted with the way these fields have held up.
Yeah, absolutely. The Temlee is an absolute ripper. When you just look at the reserves and you see the likes of Morton and Scalacci, who are both obviously big race winners in their own right, being the 2 reserves, that just goes to show the quality that the field has been assembled and how much quality there is through the Australian Cup heats as well is a fair testament to the sprinting race at the moment. The Zoom Top's probably a little bit lighter for various reasons. A few dogs bypassing the 700-metre feature this week and heading into the Group 1 Santa Vale heats next week instead, and a few dogs injured, a few dogs not ready for the 700 metres. So the Zoom Top's a little bit lighter on, but the Temlee is absolutely red hot.
Big style. Box draw could well play a very big part, as we often say when these big feature races are on. And Jason Thompson was on the Sports Daily this morning on TAB Radio discussing the prospects of his runners. He, of course, now has a slot in our Sandgroper race which he leased off Aaron Bain chasing Aaron Bain. So yeah, great to have Jason Thompson a part of our Sandgraper later on in the year. The market with Tab Touch here for the Temlee punters. Flying Zulu off the inside, $2.50. Smooth Plane in 2 at $5. Hotel Whiskey 1 in the 3 at $8.50. Vincent Bale from box 4 at $6.50. Lakeview Emily from the 5 at $8.50. Daisy's Rory $31 from box 6. Tim Zoo will be nice and strong late. It's from box 7 at $12. And Jason Thompson also has Excavation drawn box number 8 at $4.80. He made mention of the fact that Flying Zulu is happy where it is, that Excavation is happy where it is, that Tim Zoo will be really strong late. Heads into this feature with 3 of the key runners. It's a nice spot to be in.
Yeah, absolutely. You've seen how dominant he's been over the last pretty much his whole career, to be honest, but particularly over the last 12 months. And a few of these dogs, like a Flying Zulu or Tim Zoo, are both big Group 1 winners. Are probably flying a little bit under the radar. Explicit's been the headline act. He's now retired and enjoying the stud game, but he comes into this race with a really strong hand. Flying Zulu, as you said, he's probably the one that's going to be the hardest to beat, I'd imagine. Shorty, box number 1 is absolutely ideal. And from time to time, we've seen Flying Zulu miss the start and find a little bit of trouble, but he's won a Group 1 off the speed. But recently, he's just been nailing the start, 5.04 and 5 flat at Sandown his last 2 starts, and both of those in sub-29 seconds overall. You really can't be asking for much better form, and particularly when you come up with the red draw. So I think Flying Zulu is going to be incredibly hard to beat. Tim Zoo, I think, is probably the one of the trio that might find it a bit difficult. He's an absolute superstar, a class act. Runs the hands off the clock, but he's going to need a little bit of luck from out wide. And Excavation's another dog that probably needs to lead to win to show his best, but there's no reason why he can't from a wide draw. So JT, I'd imagine, would have been pretty thrilled when he was talking this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. No, in a good space, that is for sure. And certain Smooth Plane, such a reliable, consistent dog from the Daily Kennels. In box number 2, Vincent Bale in box number 4. They're 2 greyhounds that if you're playing novelties, you just cannot be leaving out. They both very rarely miss the frame and are such professional, consistent dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. They're probably 2 dogs that fly under the radar when you're talking about the best dogs in Australia, but they shouldn't, because they're both absolute stars. They're both so strong. They're probably not going to run the 5-second sectional like the likes of Hotel Whiskey 1 or Lakeview Emily, Flying Zulu or Excavation, but they are just so strong in that run home. And if they can lob anywhere near the leaders, I can imagine whoever's on the leaders is going to start getting a little bit nervous, because they're going to be absolutely charging late. And we saw Smooth Plane trial in an exhibition trial leading up to the Phoenix and run the 3rd fastest time that we've ever seen. Obviously, that was solo, so it's a little bit different. He came out and ran an awesome race in the Phoenix as well. And then a couple of weeks ago, we saw Vincent Bale just set the clock alight, 29.41, which is the official 3rd fastest time that we've ever had at the Meadows. And it's a long-standing track record too. So they don't often give it a nudge, but both of them have. And they just need a little bit of luck in the early stages to show that sort of motor that they've both got.
Absolutely. Corey, we might just get you to pop on hold for a moment. We've got race number 2 here at Scone over the 2,200 metres. Matty, I'll throw back to you. We'll take race number 2 here at Scone, and when we return, we'll get Corey's thoughts for the remainder of the program.
You are tuned into Shorty and the team on Great GREYS.
We're 6 minutes away from 11 o'clock. We're having a chat to the main man from the Meadows, Corey Smith, and the program on Saturday night there at the Meadows under the microscope. We've had a really good look for the sprinters there, the Group 1 Temlee. Now just a quick look at the Zoom Top, Ethanol Water, and also Black Silencer come out of that Queensland staying series with white hot form. They take on some pretty nice stayers in the Zoom Top. Corey?
Yeah, no, there's a bit of a chasm between the best in this race, and there's a bit of a drop-off there, but the absolute pointy end of the market is where it's at, in my opinion. Ethanol Water is a dead-set superstar. She's a multiple Group 1 winner. She just rarely runs a bad race these days. We had seen in the past she occasionally bombs the start, but the last couple of starts she's been nailing it, and if she does that again, I think she's going to be really, really hard to beat. Black Silencer, as you mentioned, he's a really, really strong type, and he's a dog that's probably due to win these. He's multiple Group 1 placed, and the only real fault that he has is that he gets back in his runs. He's got a massive engine. He's got all the ability in the world. His race sense is on the improve as well, so he's going to be hard to beat if he gets a real crack at him. But the most intriguing runner for me is Unreal Speed. We haven't seen it on a racetrack since May, and if the quality of the nominations, or the depth of the nominations for the Zoom Top was a bit stronger. We probably don't see Unreal Speed getting picked in a Zoom Top, but he has satisfactory trialled in front of the stewards and was really quick there. And Robbie Britton, who is arguably the best trainer of stayers that we've seen, certainly in my time, is put his hand up with Unreal Speed, and he says he's ready to go. So he's the intriguing runner, but it's all about Ethanol Water for me. I think the inside draw, she just has to hit the start, and if she hits the start, I can't see them catching her.
Yeah, no, I think both bred runners are very well placed heading into the features across there at the Meadows on Saturday night. Corey, you're a good judge, as we have heard along the way on the Jet Set podcast last year. Were there any other runners that stood out to you throughout the other heats on the night? Of course, we've got, again, there's 8 heats, but nearly every one of these heats is just chock full of quality.
Yeah, exactly right. So it's a tough night to try and find a winner. You could make a case for a lot of the runners throughout the heats, but my best bet comes up in the first leg of the quaddie, race 5, and that's Poor Oswald. The speed in this race is drawn off the track, so Mapunga Scarlet and Motion Sensor, I think they might take each other on, and Poor Oswald doesn't have a huge amount of speed drawn either side of him. Red Bale and Poor Lulu and Bomb Luca, for that matter, are greyhounds that are probably more noted for their strength in these sort of races over this sort of distance. So Poor Oswald, who won a Group 1 a couple of starts ago at Wenty Park. I know they're not the strongest of Group 1s of all time, the Derbies and the age-restricted classics, but I think Poor Oswald's got a fair bit of extra juice in the tank, and I think he's going to be really hard to beat. So I think we'll get around $3, and I'd be happy to take that. So race 5, number 3, Poor Oswald is my absolute best. And then the other best bet that I've got is Ethanol Water, race 8, number 1. I think anything above even money is a reasonable play. You're pretty much betting on her hitting the start, which she has shown. She's getting a little bit better at that, a little bit more consistent at that, and particularly over the 700 when there's less pressure in the races. I think she's going to be really hard to hold out in the early stages, and once she hits the front, you just don't see her run down. She's a super strong type. So race 5, number 3, race 8, number 1, and then I've got a bit of a value play, a bit more of a speculative play. You can maybe play it as your roving banker if you'd like. Race 3, number 6, Poor Quan. It's probably not the strongest of the Australian Cup heats, the second of the heat. There's some really intriguing runners drawn in squeeze draws and out wide, but I just think that it is going to be really hard to beat. And when you're getting $15 plus without Poor Quan, I reckon I've got to just have something on just for my own sanity.
Indeed, yeah, the double figure prices, nice value play there for the punters. Race 3, number 6, Poor Quan to go along with race 5, number 3, Poor Oswald, the best of them, and race 8, number 1, Ethanol Water. Corey, great to hear you back here on TAB Radio, mate. To yourself and all of the team there at the Meadows, all the very best for what is going to be a magnificent night of chasing there on Saturday.
Thanks for having me, Shorty, and hopefully everyone backs plenty of winners on Saturday night.
Good man. Corey Smith, the top man from the Meadows, joining us this morning here to round out Great Greys. A good program tonight there at Mandurah as well. The train, he's got 3 plays on the program. A race 5, number 1, Kaizen Shadow. Later on in the night, he likes race 6, number 7, Miss Vivas. He made that his best bet on the card. And in race 9, number 2, Shine on Lily. I think that Gary Nelson's going to have a good night tonight there at Mandurah. I thought an all-up multi-win. I think he can have a double with race 4, number 2, Zipping Cagney, and then deeper into the card, race 8, number 2, Surf the Sun. So a pair of 2s for Gary Nelson tonight. Good luck to you, Gaz. Hopefully you can come home with a winning double. I'll be aboard with race 4, number 2, into race 8, number 2, and that is Great Greys on this Thursday, done and dusted. A huge thanks to Matty McDermott once again, who's done a wonderful job getting all of our guests up online throughout the course of the program. Thank you, Matty, to your good self and everybody tuned into TAB Radio. Wishing you all many winners on this Thursday. I'll be back tomorrow morning between 9 and 10, chasing winners with Peter O'Neill and Jesse Earnshaw. All the best, Matty.